Hello, my name is Stuart, and today we are looking at two of my new toys. We are going to be looking at the Vernier Stir Station and the Vernier Go Direct Drop Counter. I've just received these in the post, so we're going to be opening them up and having a play. As you can see here, we have the drop counter. It's in its bag. As it's Go Direct, it will be able to Bluetooth directly to a computer. We have a charging cable. We have the drop counter unit itself. Ooh, and here I have my burette with the tip and a couple of lure locks. Just screw that on like that. And the final piece of the puzzle for my pH probe. Here I have the magnetic stir. As you can see, for the stir station itself, it's a slightly bigger box. So we'll just carefully open it up and see what we have on the inside. Packaging, packaging, packaging. And here we go. We have the stir station itself. So I'll make a little bit of space here. It looks like we have another magnetic stir. So we have a bead there, but we also have one which will fit onto the tip of the Go Direct pH probe or a normal pH probe. We have a rod. So this rod will obviously get screwed in here. And finally, we have the power supply. Okay, I believe we're ready to get started. So let's put all this together and have a go at a titration. Hello, welcome back. Now, I've set it up so we have our sodium hydroxide up here. Now, I do have a waste beaker down here, and you may be wondering why. The waste beaker is there because first, before we do this experiment, we need to make sure that we have the right number of drips going in. So I'm going to fill this up a little bit more. Now I'm going to turn on the bottom valve all the way. What I'm going to do is slowly open the second valve until we get a good drop rhythm. Okay, so here we have a good drop rhythm. As you can see, it's going one drop about every 2 seconds. It's also falling nicely through the drop counter, so the light is flashing as well. The next thing I'm going to do is take the bottom valve and turn it all the way off. We're now ready to actually do the experiment for real. So I will take away my wastewater. Here we have 50 mils of water. Place it on our stir station. Now I'm going to take my pH probe, pop it in. What I'm next going to add is phenolphthalein, just a few drops. And 10 mils of vinegar. So we have 50 mils of water, 10 mils of vinegar. Okay, now that we have our vinegar, we have our sodium hydroxide, we have our drop counter, now we just need to connect everything to graphical analysis. I've started graphical analysis, and as you can see on the screen, I have both the pH probe and the drop counter attached. I'm going to click done. Now in this case, our graph will have pH on one axis and volume on the other, because it's going to count the number of mils going through. It is possible, if you need a higher level of accuracy, to calibrate your drop counter as well. So I'm going to start it by hitting collect. I'm just going to open the second valve, which is the on-off, so now it will drop at a nice constant rate. Here we go. So if we now go back to the graph, we can see the data is starting to fill itself in. So we'll watch this for a bit. We'll check on the data as we go along. Now, because I've added the phenolphthalein, I can have a little look to see visually how we're going. I do find it nice and pretty to see the purple swirls starting to happen. And we're nearly at a point of equivalence. I can see it here. I can see it even more importantly on the graph. So there we go. So I'll let this go for just a little bit more, just so the curve looks beautiful. Okay, right now I think we have enough data. I have let it go on a bit so we can have everything just beautifully smooth at the top and the bottom. I'm going to stop my data. I'm going to turn off my burette. Okay, so we have all the data we need. Now we need to analyze it. If I go over to Graphical Analysis, as you can see, we have this beautiful curve that goes through the equivalence point to the end point, all the way out the top. How to analyze this best? Now, there are a number of ways. One, the easiest you can do, is to go to tangent. If I turn this on, I'm looking for the area of greatest slope, which is kind of in this area here. However, is that the best? Not really. I can do better than that. So I'm going to turn off the tangent, and this time I'm going to do a different kind of analysis. I'm going to do a derivation of this curve. To do that, I go over to the three dots, I add a calculated column, I'm inserting an expression, so I want to do a derivation of y versus x, in this case pH versus volume. When I click apply, a new volume of data is added. To see that, I go to the pH and I turn on my calculated column. As you can see, once we get to here, we have a peak. And so we know the exact number of mils that we used in order to get to the equivalence point. So that has been doing a titration when you have proper equipment. When you have a burette, in this case an automatic one, which is great, you have a drop counter, you have a stir station. If you do have any queries, please feel free to email me on the following address.